going to be structured pretty much for all my people that are suffering from being overweight or are seeking to change that journey and drop the weight for whatever reason. Today we're here with Paulina and myself, and in a second we're going to introduce ourselves. So both of us have had that journey where we have been overweight and we're still working on our bodies and trying to change and transform our lives. And we feel inspired to create this video that it's going to be organic and it's going to be raw, where both of us are going to be sharing their experiences with you guys and hopefully touch your heart and your mind for you to make that change and know that it's not going to be easy, but the journey can be super fun depending on however you see it. And also we're hoping to raise your awareness and change your mindset today. So with that said, I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Brenda Herrera. I'm a life coach. I'm a wellness and personal development life coach. I'm also a massage therapist, upon other things that I do. But since this video is about wellness, I think that's all you need to know about me. And now one of my dear friends is going to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Paulina Rubio. I am currently a licensed massage therapist. And that's basically where Brenda and I met. We met at school. She showed me the ways on how to be a massage instructor. But that's basically where we met. And yeah, here we are now.
Yes, and it was a super fun journey, by the way. We had a great time laughing at school and being teachers. So yes, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and look at Bao because we're going to have this conversation. So Bao, let's start with the whole story about us being massage therapists, right? That's the first thing where I got to learn about meditation, about wellness, about being balanced, and how massage is actually a career that is strenuous on the body. And it takes a lot from you. And with that said, it's also a career that gives you that balance and teaches you how to be in alignment. So meaning body, mind, and soul. Okay, so I would like to start off by asking you about, did you even ever notice that you started gaining the weight?
Honestly, yes. So a little before I started massage school, I mean, I knew I was kind of like more on the hefty side, like my entire life, but I was okay with it. I didn't think I was too big or anything. And I'm just a big girl, like period. I'm just a big girl. And I had always been compared, with other girls, and they're all like petite and small, but I would just say like, I'm a big girl, I'm a big girl. But then it got to the point where I ended up being in massage school, and then we ended up having our nutrition class, and I started realizing how bad I was eating, and how so many factors or external factors are involved with, being overweight. Like you mentioned, having that mind balance, having a good mindset. Economically too, that has a lot to do with, and I was struggling when I was in school. I had a full-time job. I was going to school full-time, and it was very difficult for me to cook for myself, and I didn't even have enough money to cook. So, what was the easiest thing? Get the dollar burgers from McDonald's, how to eat that 3 times a day. So obviously after a period of time, you end up gaining the weight. I didn't notice how bad it had gotten at one point until I saw a picture, to be honest. I saw a picture of myself and I was like, what? Like that's me. That was not how I saw myself at all. But when I saw that physically, I realized, okay, I need to do something about it. And then I started noticing all the things that kind of affected that, the relationship that I was in, the lifestyle that I was having, not only like going out and partying and drinking or anything, but like waking up late, feeling depressed, feeling sorry for myself, all of those little things, even the way I grew up and the relationship that we were taught as children to have with food, like food was everything. And it could, and I understand it up to a certain point where food has to be like one of your main things in life, but it doesn't have to be the main thing. And I think that was the issue that I had, that I swear, like I would just think about like, oh my God, I would finish eating and I'd be like, well, what are we gonna have next? And I would get so excited about it. And yeah, it's just, again, yeah, you just start noticing all these little things where you start feeling bad. And, I was being made aware of what I was doing wrong in my life,
Yes, yes. I definitely agree about same thing for me. My mom would always tell me that I was fat and I'm like, why are you judging me? Like, stop judging me. And I did feel judged. I'm not going to deny that. But the thing is, I realized how big I was when I saw a picture, not of my pictures, but a picture of me on a student's Facebook profile.
Oh, wow.
Like, damn, like that's me right there holding on for dear life to my little book cards. And that's where I'm like, wow. But to be honest with you, that wasn't my turning point. My turning point was when I discovered I became a type 2 diabetic. That's when it's like, boom, it hit. And making that change was like, ooh, because I was still in denial for a while. I'm like, oh no, I'm not sick. I'm going to reverse that.
And I think it's when you start having some sort of health condition, or when you start feeling it a little bit more physically to where it stops you from doing something, I think that's when it becomes a turning point, And I mean, the ideal thing would be for us not to get to that point, but sometimes that has to be your rock bottom to realize it. And just like you said right now, like me seeing that picture, it did change my mindset for a brief moment, but then I still kept that lifestyle for a long time. And it wasn't until I had my daughter Zoe that I realized, okay, this is ridiculous when I'm trying to play with her on the floor and I struggle so much to get back up. And my knees were hurting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm barely 29. And I'm already having these issues, something that I see my grandma dealing with. So I think that was the turning point for me as well.
Yes. And then just to give like a little picture to our audience about, so back then I was 240 pounds. Right now I'm at 140. So it's like that 100-pound break that I changed. And then it's just losing the last 25. It's been hard for me. It's been like I've been plateau. It's been hard for me to lose those 25. But 100 pounds, it's said easy. I can almost say I have like a master's in weight loss. It's taken like almost 6 years or so. And it's not easy. If you're trying to do this journey, just know you're not going to drop the weight in a month, 2 months, 3 months. And if you do drop it fast, you're going to regain it fast. Why? Because the fat mind, fat body. And we'll touch a little bit on that. I just want for you to give like a little scenario, a little picture for the audience so they know where we're coming from.
Exactly. And well, now that you mentioned how much you've lost, I guess I would say that I'm like at the beginning, if you will, of my weight loss journey. Sorry. And I say that because I'm doing it the healthy way now. I have lost 40 pounds overall. I started, the most I weighed was 307. And as of this morning, I am at 264.6. So even that has been a struggle, and, like you said, I always thought like, oh my gosh, it's easy. I'll just do it next week. I'll start next week. And next week turned into 10 years later. And I was still, I was more overweight than I was at the beginning, So the 40 pounds has been a struggle because it is changing your mindset about absolutely everything. But I'm happy, I'm proud of those 40 pounds. And you can tell, and seeing myself just a little bit, like getting a little bit closer towards my goal pushes me even more. So I'm happy. I'm proud of those 40 pounds.
Yes, please be, because it's 40 pounds. It's not easy. I mean, you say it easily, but it's not. So something that I want to talk about, Bao, before we move forward is the stigmas of being overweight. So I hear people say like, oh, that person wants to be fat because they just want to be. And there's a lot of attachments to being overweight. First of all is who wants to be criticized for their body shape. That's one. The other one, stereotyped, like, oh, you're just lazy, or oh, you just don't want to do this, without keeping in mind, like, what is that person going through emotionally? What are they trying to mask with or comfort themselves with food? Is that instant pleasure that you get that you want to repeat it? And a monk told me this. It's like the pleasure only lasts seconds, but since it's so good, you repeat it. You repeat it and repeat it. That's why it's like, what am I going to do next to tame whatever I'm battling? So next time that we see a person that is overweight, instead of criticizing, maybe changing ourselves and putting ourselves in that person's shoes, and it's asking ourselves, what is this person going through? And that's the reason we're making this video, because if somebody is out there that needs the help, that needs to talk to somebody, reach out to us. You have Paulina, you have myself. Sometimes you're alone in this journey and you just need that helping hand that is going to help you excel. So please, please, please reach out to us. We're here for you, definitely. And I don't know if you have something to say regarding that. And if you do, go ahead and then we'll move on. Or anything that you experienced that it hurt you when you used to be overweight?
More than anything, I was always told, like, you know, I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm overweight, and everyone would be like, oh yeah, but you have a beautiful face. I'm like, yeah, but that's not the issue here, you know. And I don't think someone is ugly for being overweight or not, you know. And I think that's what a lot of people base your weight on. Like if you're overweight, I mean, I know, like I said, people kind of like brush you off. Even I noticed that people don't tend to take you seriously with jobs, you know, or anything, because they're like, oh, okay, you know what, you know, you don't do anything, you're basically overweight. And then just being like in the massage field, at least for me, I would try to tell people, you know, you have to be healthy and you have to do this, but then they would literally like look at me up and down, and I'd be like, okay, you know, I need to believe in what I'm preaching, you know, and I wasn't doing that. So again, I wouldn't be taken seriously, which took away a lot of work from my job, you know. So I think that was the one of the main things for me, is being taken seriously. I never really did. Just like this, because they never saw that commitment from me. So
right.
Makes sense.
And then about to add to that is when I started dropping weight, I would have like people open the door for me. People would put up with more things. And I'm like, why? I'm the same freaking person I was when I was fat. What changed? You know, and that was kind of a turn off for me. And it still is, actually. So that's one. Another one too is when we decide to agree with what people say. For example, if you don't look the same as a thin girl with your wardrobe, or having like, oh, like I don't want to go out because I'm fat and I don't look good. But at one point in life, we decided that that was true. Either society or our parents or whoever, we're like, I'm going to accept the truth that you're giving me. And that's something that I want our audience to also make that disconnect. Nothing is true that you don't agree to. So if right now our audience is accepting agreements from others that are not theirs, cut them, cut that cord. And that's where the mindset comes in. So just to go into our topic about I'll go again and I'll edit. The fat mind, fat body is like, if you don't change that mindset, your body is not going to go along.
Mm-hmm.
Did you encounter some of those battles?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, and I think this is going to sound very silly, and I think people are going to be like, why would you even do that? You know, because anyway, so let me explain. So my sister, I always felt like I was a little bit compared to my sister. She's beautiful. I love my sister to death, but she's more petite. She's petite than. Hold on. She is more petite than I am. So, I was always like compared with her or whatever, and I was always told, again by my mom and multiple people, that I was overweight. So I got to the point where I was like, okay, I was just so tired of battling with him that I was like, okay, you want to see me fat? I'll be fat. And then I became overweight. And I was trying to, I guess, prove a point. I don't know what my point was, but I was just tired of battling. And people were telling me so much that I was overweight that I was like, okay, let's make it happen. If that's what you're telling me, that's what I am. I'm going to make it happen. And then I did. Again, sounds silly, but like you said, I got to that point where I believed what they were saying, and I allowed myself to get to that point.
So now this brand new Bao, what would you tell our audience about when it comes to that?
I would say that just like with everything else, you might see an accident, right? You might have two people see the same accident out in the street. Your story is going to be completely different from the person right next to you, right? So again, kind of just back to what basically, like, the truth that you have made up in your mind doesn't mean that it's the actual truth. So again, there's always going to be different perspectives of everything, absolutely everything in the world. And just because someone has a certain truth of you doesn't mean that's what it is. So just keep on going, keep on doing you, and do your truth.
Yes.
And that's it. Believe in yourself.
Yes. So to wrap up the whole fat mind, fat body is, if you're really trying to make a weight loss change, it has to start up here. And more than anything, it's probably an emotion or a habit that at some trajectory in our life we agreed upon. And that's where all the coaching kicks in, and analyzing and learning about yourself helps you with this journey. So I would like to talk about counter intentions next. So